Okay, so it's that time of year again where, like everybody else, I'm releasing my 2024 end of year video. All the images in this video were shot during the year 2024 from January to November, December possibly. So yeah, title is 2024 and beyond. So 2024, it's been a bit of a weird year for me. I've had so many different day jobs that it has made it hard for me to do a lot of the photography I wanted to do this year. But hopefully that's changed this for 2025. I managed to get a more stable job now, which gives me a day off during the week, so it's only a 4-day job, which is great. It's going to mean I can definitely throughout the entire year dedicate 1 day a week just to photography. Even if it's not going out and taking pictures, it's developing ideas, projects, that sort of stuff. It's just going to make it easier for me to make work, I think, in 2025. Let me know if you think that I'm bonkers. Anyway, so yeah, a little update. I got rid of the Nikon D750. The reason I did was because the shutter made a really weird sound, I have to say. I didn't really like that. But it was more that it only went up to 4,000th of a second, and you may have noticed I like to shoot a lot at ISO 800, and there are a few pictures that I shot at ISO 800 in that my previous video that I didn't include in it because they're way overexposed, because it was quite a bright day and I tend to go out in bright weather as well as dull weather, hence why I like to shoot ISO 800. It makes everything at 800, it makes it very flexible if there's changeable light, so sunshine cloud, which certainly this time of year can happen and will happen. So that's the reason I ditched that. But going forward in 2025, I can now invest more in projects. So I have a project to do with the South Downs Way. There's 2 of them really, all both off the same, using the same thing, the South Downs Way, which, if you don't know about the South Downs Way, it runs from Eastbourne in East Sussex all the way to Winchester. So it's quite long, and it's an ancient access way that people have been using for centuries. Now, the 2 project ideas I have for this, and I'm probably going to end up doing both of them because I'll be able to do one and the other at the same time, though separating them out might be a bit more interesting. So yeah, I thought I'd do one which I've got a provisional name of Pilgrimage, and the reason I've got that particular title is because of the number of churches and places of worship that are dotted, sort of branch off from this ancient, well, it's basically a road, I suppose you could call it, an ancient route of travel, with Winchester obviously being at one end, you've got Eastbourne at the other, and there's all these very old churches and other religious sites all along the South Downs Way. To give you an example, you have St Botolph's, which is in Botolph's, and I think it might be Coombs actually, which is in West Sussex, just right next to the River Ada, and it's one of the oldest, I think it's a chapel as opposed to a church, I'd have to check that, but it's one of the oldest in the country. It's actually in the Domesday Book, if you know what that is. So yeah, we've got that, and obviously you've got other religious sites, and not just religious sites, you've got places like Sisbury Ring, which was I think one of the very, very important sites. It was a flint mine, and that's right on the South Downs Way. But then for this other project, which is at the same time, which is an extension of my Hinterland project, which was all about the human influence on the landscape to do with access or lack of access. So you have this wonderful free to access route that goes, I think it's over 100 miles, all along the South Downs, with the odd dip like in the Ada Valley where it dips down along the valley floor before going back up again. You have a lot of it's agricultural land, so you can't just walk onto it, unlike in Scotland, which you have the right to roam, which is the only part of the whole of the United Kingdom where us Joe Public have the right to roam, so long as we're sensible about it and don't just walk into the middle of some farmer's field damaging his crop. You know, obviously I would like that to be in England as well, and Wales, because there are sites of historical interest that you literally cannot reach because they're like tiny little islands that you can actually be on. I think there was an article on the BBC News website this week about this. There are sites that technically are public land, but they're completely enclosed by private land, so you can't reach them unless the private landowner allows it. In some cases they'll just say, well, you need to get permission. If you ask for permission and you tell us when you're coming, that's fine. But there are others who are complete arseholes and go, no, you can't cross my land, sort of thing. And we even had this with them trying to close off actual public access as well. That's another big problem with landowners closing off legitimate public access. So it's this whole idea of our control of the landscape and controlling where you can go through the landscape, because you can walk along the South Downs Way, but there's loads and loads of fields on there you just can't walk in. You don't have access to. There's barbed wire, gates, locks, all sorts of things. But there's also all the signage that goes with it, and this is the stuff I used in my Hinterland project. If you want to have a look at that, it's on my website still, which is www.adv.photos. And in that project I was examining all the man-placed objects in the landscape and how they control our access to the landscape and where we can go and where we can't go. So you have signs saying public footpath here, public footpath there, public footpath here, and then there's a gate with a lock on it and it says no trespassers, sort of thing. And so that's the other one I can do. I can do it at the same time, you see, because I'll be using all these rights of access to get to these other places. So like I said with the chapel at Bottoffs, there's actually another sort of like church in Coombs itself, which is on the South Downs Way. You walk past all this, you have to walk through this public road that goes into this farm, and you have to walk through that, and then you go up on the public footpath up on top of the downs, and you can actually see the top parts of Lancing College's chapel there, and you can see across from there all the way to the other side of the valley, so you can see like the Shoreham flyover, if you know what that is. That was built in the 1960s, and on a really good day you can see even further than that. But yeah, these are the two ideas I've got, using the same access, the same, I suppose, two concepts for the same project. Well, I could mix them in and make them one big project, or I could make them two projects, I don't know. But the other thing is that now I've got a more consistent income from this job that I've got, I'm going to be able to think more about equipment that I'm going to use. So I have my 5D Mark II. I'm not getting rid of that. I love that camera. It's so easy to use, and like every other Canon camera I've ever, well, apart from the megapixel monster of the 5DS and the 5DSR, apart from them, the files are just so easy to edit. You can edit them in minutes, no problem. And so yes, I've got that, but that will be one camera. The other digital camera I'll be using is a 1DX Mark II. Now you may be thinking, hang on a minute, that costs like 4 times as much as a 5D Mark II, a little bit more actually. Yes, but it's a solid professional camera, and as is the 5D Mark II, but it's also it's incredibly rugged, much better battery life, and I can shoot 4K video with it as well, which I can't do on a 5D Mark II. Well, not without, you know, voiding it by using Magic Lantern, but we won't go on about that. So yeah, so 1DX Mark II, 5D Mark II, they'll be my two digital cameras that I'll be using for it. But I'm also going to be using film. Now at the moment, I'm looking at two 35mm cameras that I've already got though, so I'm not spending any more money, which would be a Canon AE1. I've got a whole bunch of lenses for that, and I've got an adapter so I can put all my M42 screw mount lenses on it, and I know they work on it because I've used them on the AV1 before, so I know they work. And on top of that, I have my Canon F5, which if you don't know what that is, imagine a 1DX, only it's a film camera, and it's got awesome metering on it. It's got far better metering on it than the Canon EOS 1, I think it is. That's the Canon equivalent. And I have a 28-70 2.8 zoom lens for that, for Sigma lens for that. So that's going to give me most of what I want in that. It's just whether I want to spend the extra money and get a medium format camera, like a 645 or a 6x6 camera. So you know, I'd be interested to know what you think about that, or shall I just stick to 35mm? I've got one of those. I also recently picked up a basically never used lab box kit. If you don't know what that is, it enables you to develop a roll of film without having to go into a dark room or use a dark bag. It comes as a box, and it has two attachments. One is an attachment for 35mm film, and the other is an attachment for 120 film, which is medium format film, which you can shoot 645 up to 6x9. I think that's the largest you can get on 120 film. So yeah, so that's where I'm at the moment. I may get a little action camera as well, just to I don't know if I should start filming my little walks that I do when I go out and take photos, and put them in between some of the photos so you can see where I've, you know, the difference between what you see in the camera and how I've edited them. Maybe we'll have to see. The only other thing is that I've decided I'm going to try and get some studio portrait photography work as well. So I'll be looking to see if I can get some just some freelance stuff. It doesn't have to be regular. I don't think I'll get lots and lots of it. I might get the odd one every couple of weeks, but it's nice to keep turning over the portfolio in that, because you never know, somebody might suddenly discover you, and suddenly you get a whole load of work, and then my day job becomes something that I love rather than my hobby or my serious hobby. So yeah, anyway, I hope everybody's had a good Christmas and a good New Year, and you're not too hungover, because this isn't going to come out till New Year's Day, so you will be going, oh my god, how much did I drink last night? Whose underpants am I wearing? Am I wearing any? Trust me, I've been there. So yes, I hope everybody's had a good time, and I'm really looking forward to 2025 now. Really looking forward to generating more serious work, and bringing you guys along for the ride. Okay, that's it for now. I hope to see you soon. Goodbye.